Hi again, it's me, Lillian Raji, Global Communications Advisor, Fractional CMO, and founder of the PRadvisor.com. Welcome back to the next class. So happy to see you. And I'm hoping you took me up on my offer earlier that you should go to the PRadvisor.com website and register for the class there. As a reminder, these YouTube videos give you just the fundamentals of product placement, but the real mastery is going to come with the additional $2,500 in bonus materials waiting for you for free, for free on the pradvisor.com website. Registration is completely free and comes with the best part, a 20-minute free call with me to answer all your product placement questions. So what are you waiting for? Head over to the pradvisor.com website now to get your bonuses. See you soon.
Welcome back to the next class of Are You Ready for Your Close-Up? Getting Your Brand into the Public Eye. Make sure you have your worksheets ready as we go through today's lesson. Now, when we last left off, I was telling you about how the costume designer Trish Somerville made the decision to use Claudio Pino's jewelry in the blockbuster hit Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Let's go into more detail. The reason I was confident Trish would accept Claudio's jury is because I'd seen the first Hunger Games movie and knew already the style of the characters. Here on the left are pictures of characters from the first Hunger Game movies. And here is Claudio's jury. I could imagine Claudio's pieces fitting seamlessly into the storytelling, as I'm sure you can too, seeing these images next to each other. Finding the right opportunity for you will be much easier for an existing television show rather than an unreleased movie, unless, of course, the movie is a sequel like Hunger Games. We already have a sense of the style of each character. The first step in your product placement journey is knowing exactly where you want to be featured. This is not an easy task and requires an honest assessment of your collection. Okay, time to turn to your worksheets. First question. Name 3 past movies that your product will have fit quite seamlessly on any of the characters. Which characters? How does your style align with that of the character? Pause this session now to answer this question. Okay, next. What are 3 TV shows you could realistically see your products on one or more of the main characters? Which characters will be the perfect fit? Why? What about their style aligns with your own aesthetic? Pause again and answer the question. These are questions you must ask yourself over and over as you narrow down which TV show or movie would be good to pursue. If you can't answer these questions for your chosen shows, know that the costume designer won't either and will skip right past you. I cannot stress enough to be realistic in your assessment, or nothing you're learning now will work for you. So now, let's go into a sample case. For our example, we're going to use the hit HBO series Succession. If you've never watched it, the series just ended and it was phenomenal. Try to catch it on streaming on HBO if you can. This case study follows my exact steps as we evaluated the show for one of our clients' jewelry collections. We ended up not moving forward with the show as we connected with the costume designer a bit late, but you're going to learn how to avoid this mistake later on in the course. Anyway, I'm using this for the case study nonetheless to show you just how in-depth the research process goes. Those who watch the show will recognize that this is Shiv Roy, a very alpha woman with a strong personality and confidence that makes men tremble. And these are 2 pieces from a client's collections. Based on Shiv's personality and some of the fashions she wore on the show, I'm fairly confident the costume designer would have liked this jewelry if we'd reached her early enough. We just now had to find out who the costume designer is. Off to IMDb.com we go. If you're going to do product placement without a financial investment, you'll quickly become familiar with IMDb. This site gives you everything you need to know about every single television show or movie, past, present, and future. We'll talk about the future shows in a minute. Sidebar. I made this screen capture a couple of years ago. The show, Inventing Anna, looked rather interesting at the time and got on my radar as a possibility for a client. It was a Shondaland show, so you could have easily assumed early on it would be a hit, which it was. Plus, having read the Vanity Fair article for which the show was based, I knew glamour and fine jewelry was definitely going to be part of it. And it was. I mentioned this show because I want you to get into the habit of keeping your eyes and ears open for shows that might make sense for you. We'll get into how to do this shortly. But for now, let's find a costume designer for Succession. First, you'll need to get to the cast and crew page and scroll down until you find costume designer. We see that Michelle Matlin is a costume designer, so we take down her name. Now, here's where I point out that the type of product placement we do involves quite a bit of luck. I personally always try to do everything I can to make sure luck works in my favor. So to that end, we're going to scroll down further and see if we can find her assistants. Just in case we can't get a hold of her, we can try for an assistant. Well, she has an entire department with dozens of people working for her. Our chance of getting a response increases exponentially with the number of people we can reach out to. Just keep in mind, and this is very, very, very important, we can only reach out to people in the costume design department because every other department will refer you to the producers who will invariably ask you for money, and that's not what we want. So now let's look at this list. So at first glance, we thought we had a lot to work with, but in reality, we really don't. The reason being, see these years, and this gives us an idea of who is still working on the show and who isn't. And right now, anyone that doesn't have 2019 to 2021 in our sample, after their names, most likely is no longer working on the show. Now, let's step back for a second, as I'm sure you're wondering why we're selling for 2021 instead of 2022. The reason is because at the time I created this course, the show was on hiatus. We knew in advance that HBO had ordered another season of it. We'll get to how to know this for any show momentarily, but it hadn't started filming yet. As long as there is no activity whatsoever in the show, the last date we will see will always be the last date of filming. In our example, this is 2021. This, alas, also means that it's very possible the people we identify now may not be working on a show when production starts again. But this is a price you pay when you don't pay a price for product placement. You work with luck and skill and hope it all works out. However, if you see someone like Danny Murrah or Mitch Denton, who have been with the show since the very beginning, you can safely assume that they will continue to be with the show for the next season. Fun fact, IMDb lists people based on the length of time on the show, so you don't have to necessarily go through the entire list. Now, we've got 3 names to work with: Michelle Matlin, Danny Murrah, and Mitch Denton. It's time to reach out. There are a lot of paid services out there that will give you the exact contact information for everyone we want to reach, including a paid subscription to IMDb. But I'm going to show you how just spending a little bit of time researching will get you the information you're looking for free. So let's start with the top dog, the key decision maker, Michelle Matlin. We enter Michelle's name into Google, and the third Google result is the agency that represents her. We go to the agency website and copy down the contact information for everyone we can find. Because we're not entirely sure who her actual agent is, we're going to reach out to everyone under film and television, as surely one of them will be bingo. But just in case we strike out with reaching Michelle through her agents, let's find contact information for Danny Murrah and Mitch Denton. So for Danny, I went through 5 pages of Google results to realize we're only going to have 2 options: DM him on Instagram or try to reach him on LinkedIn. Now, there are a host of other things I will do to try and find contact information for someone, all of which involves a deep dive into multiple search engines, reverse email lookups, and a lot of other information. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to take you down that rabbit hole with me. Just know the internet has made it possible to find anyone's contact information with enough diligence and determination. Since we're not entirely confident in our chances for a DM or LinkedIn message, let's see what we find for Midge. So I must tell you, Midge was a journey to find. There is no immediately clear thread to follow with her name, as everything that comes up in Google are articles about her, but nothing that can be used to get her contact information. Even Instagram turned up nothing. Until I chanced on this tweet by someone unrelated to her. I then discovered that Midge isn't using her real name on Instagram, hence why I couldn't find her. But the tweet gave me Midge's Instagram handle, which I was able to use to discover her Etsy page, where we now have found her email. So now we have ways to contact our 3 targets. Our next task now is to reach out to them. For Michelle Matlin, we only have her agent's contact information, although we don't know which agent is actually hers. You're going to send an email to all of the agents with the subject line for Michelle Matlin. The appropriate agent will be the one that responds to you. This is how I reached Trish Somerville for Hunger Games, by the way. I tracked down her agent, who subsequently forwarded the email to her assistant, and the relationship began. Fingers crossed that this is what happens with Michelle. But if after a reasonable period of time passes and you followed up no more than twice, then go to the next person on your list. I would choose Midge because we have her real email address. Danny is going to be a last chance attempt simply because the information we have for him isn't too strong. It looks like he barely uses LinkedIn and he rarely posts on Instagram. But still, miracles do happen, so I won't take him off the list for these reasons. You'll put the following in each email or DM. Dear Michelle, Midge, or Danny, whichever one you're reaching out to, I saw you're the costume designer or part of the costume team for Succession. I've admired your wardrobe choices for the characters, especially for Shiv Roy. I'm a jewelry designer whose pieces will complement Shiv's character very well. Please take a look at my website at www.yourwebsite.com and let me know if there are any pieces I can loan to you for the next season. I'm happy to work with you however is convenient for you. Warm regards, your name, and your telephone number. And that, my friend, is how we begin. In the next class, we'll go into what comes next once you make that first contact. Until next time.